Welcome you creatives out there to another video about filmmaking, photography and the creative work behind. And this one is a lot about the creative work behind, and it's going to be huge. Before you watch this video, please check out the full car commercial. I put the link in the description box down here or in the upper corner to get an idea of what I'm talking about in this video. After that, please come back to this video and I will tell you everything about the pre-planning, the equipment we used, how we took the shots, and we take a deeper dive into the post-production process in Premiere Pro. And this is how to shoot a car commercial with zero budget. Let's go. I think the best way to learn from a project like this is when I start at the beginning and we work through in a chronological order. So let's start with the pre-planning. One of the most important parts of shooting a car commercial is the environment and the whole location. And this is even harder when you work with zero budget. So we just knew we wanted a more rural area for the beginning or the first half of our final commercial, and the second half should be a more urban vibe city location with skyline. For the first part we ended up driving in an area which is called Odenwald. It's an area full with forests, large open fields and beautiful nature. For the second part we chose the city of Frankfurt because it has the biggest skyline here in Germany, and we already knew the area because it's near to our place. For the exact locations, we just had 2 locations pre-planned and the rest of it was really spontaneous while shooting. We checked out Google Maps with satellite view to find some nice looking streets in the forest, and we also found that nice viaduct with a street aside and a perfect parking spot to set up our equipment to plan out the first shots. Before the shooting, I made some drawings of potential drone shots and driving directions, which you can see right here. So the blue lines show you our potential flying directions with the drone, the red lines are the driving directions, and the yellow lines show us the direction of where the sun should come from at that time of the day. So Google Maps is very handy and very useful to plan out shootings in areas where you have never been before. In addition to that, we created a shot list with some inspirations from other car commercials which were shot in a similar direction we wanted our production to go, or just some single shots we liked from other videos. For the shots in the city, we just scouted the bridge shots because we wanted these to be our signature shots in the whole commercial. So weeks before we shot the commercial, we drove to that location and spotted our driving locations, how the camera should drive aside the car we wanted to film, how the traffic lights switch, and when is the perfect lighting behind the skyline to get the most unique looking shot. And that's it for the pre-planning. Actually, I think when you want to realize a project like this with a small team, a low budget or a zero budget, it's very important to find out every potential problem you could face on shooting day and maybe solve these problems before they appear. Before you know what equipment you need, you should get a rough idea of how the final commercial should look like and what you are able to shoot with your equipment you already own before you start renting or paying for additional drone flyers, camera operators and so on. So for our commercial we only use the Fujifilm X-T4 as our only video camera. For the lens we chose the Sigma 18-35 f1.8 adapted with a Fringer adapter. The Sigma lens gave us a perfect variety of focal length, and I don't want it to go too wide because when you use a really wide angle lens when filming cars, it could happen that when the car comes too close to the camera you get some ugly distortions and the car starts to look unnatural. So we ended up using just this lens, which gave us an equivalent on full frame of about 24 millimeters up to 50 millimeters, and this gave us the perfect combination of wide angle shots and close-up and detail shots. For 90% of the shots we mounted the camera on the Zhiyun Weebill S gimbal, which is actually strong enough when you use a cage for the camera as a counterweight to the very heavy lens. For recording, we use the Atomos Ninja 5 to record on SSD in 4K 10-bit ProRes 422 to get the most dynamic range and flexibility in post for color grading. For the camera settings, we chose to shot everything in Cinema 4K 25 FPS, which is the European standard basic frame rate. And we know we're not going to need any slow motion footage in our final commercial. For the drone shots, we use the DJI Mavic Pro 2, and for the last scenes you see in the final commercial in the parking spot, we mounted the camera on a simple tripod. Let's talk about how we film some of the most iconic shots in this car commercial. Most of the time, a friend of mine drove my car as the camera car, and I sat in the open trunk, hang out of the window, or even stand between the front seats to film out of the sunroof. Like this, we drove in front, behind, or on the side of the commercial car. The streets were really empty, and it was easy for us to manage to find time slots without any other car on the streets. Please make sure when you're filming out of the trunk or doing any other crazy filming styles that you're secured by wires or anything else, and watch out for other people's and cars. The most difficult scene was by far the scene where the car crosses the bridge with the skyline and the sunset in the background. We definitely needed some runs to make sure that we have the perfect lighting without any other cars, to find the perfect angle from the filming car. And let me tell you, it was not easy to hang out of the window with a heavy gimbal, a heavy camera with lens, and find the perfect angle while crossing this bridge. And as I already mentioned, we wanted to make sure that that scene is our signature shot, so we wanted to make it perfect. And I think we pretty much nailed it. In this part of the video, I want to give you a little breakdown of our post-production process in Premiere Pro, show you some tips and tricks and what we did on different clips, and also take a deeper dive into the sound design. As you can see, we have a really colorful looking candy shop over here, and I did this actually just for this video to give you a better overview of the different layers. Starting with the video layers. So blue are the raw video files, yellow are different graphics like our logo and the Audi logo and the text with the typical Audi font. Green are different light overlays like sun rays and light beams and stuff like this. And purple are different adjustment layers for color grading, and on the top is cinematic black bars. And for audio layers, we have an orange the music track, and in green are our sound effects. So let's dive in a little more and I show you a breakdown of one of our best scenes. On the raw video itself, we have the Lumetri color effect, which is our basic color correction, which you can see right here. And afterwards, we added the VR glow effect to pop the lights of the car a little bit more. In the layer above, we added a soft light overlay, which kind of simulates like lens flares, which you can see over here when I turn it off and on. The adjustment layer above the overlay, I don't know why it's in German here, but if you turn this off and on, you can see that this is our color grading. And we stretched this overlay to bring it over every single clip as our final touch. And over that layer, we have those cinematic black bars. And if you turn them off and on, you can really see how much life they bring to the image. Let me show you two more breakdowns and editing tips before we jump over to the sound effects. So what we did in this top-down drone shot right here is that we have our basic correction on the raw clip again. Then additional adjustment layers with further color correction and sharpening. Above these we added some fog overlays, gives us the illusion to be above the clouds with a drone, which spices up the whole shot. And with the very last adjustment layer over here, we just reduced the green tint which we saw in the street. So we created another lumetri color effect and created a mask around the street. And if you turn this off, you can really see the green tint of the street. So with that effect, we just reduced the green tint. As you maybe think, these particles you can see in the lights are not an overlay. These are actually there in the raw footage. We tried something which ended up pretty well. So we had a rag to clean the little spots and fingerprints from the car. And by the end of the day, the rag was full of dust. So we took the rag and shaked out all the dust in front of the light to get these particles. This is just a little homemade trick to get some specials when filming detailed shots of car lights. So keep that in mind. As our last part of the video, let's talk about sound design and some special things which you might have not noticed. Let me just show you a part of the video with just the sound effects. We actually didn't record one single sound effect during our shooting. We looked up every sound piece we used in the final edit on pages like Epidemic Sound and found some really good matching stuff. The key to a natural sound design is to keep them subtle in the background and work with different layers of sound. So for the process in the video, we tried to match the car sound to the driving of the car, like turning up the volume when the car catches up to the camera or turning down the volume when the car drives away. And you can also play with the sound design to make it sound even more natural. So let me show you what I mean. Keep an eye on the left and right channel volume while I move the playhead around. So we started with the higher volume on the left audio channel, and when the car is passing by, we lowered the audio on the left channel and turned the volume on the right channel a little bit more up. So when hearing with headphones, you will recognize the sound wandering from left to right. And you just notice it when I talk about it because it's just so natural. Little things like these make your sound design better and better, and I am also still in a learning process. And that's it for the little behind the scenes of our car commercial with zero budget. In the end, I just wanted to say thank you to our friends who drove the cars and made sure that everything stays safe. And also please check out my production partner Chris. I'll link his Instagram in the description box down there. Head over, show some love, because we shot this whole piece together. Let me know what you think about this whole behind the scenes video. Feel free to check out the car commercial again. Feel free to share, subscribe, like, comment, whatever. And also show me your car commercials. Thank you for stopping by. Love from Germany. Hopefully see you in the next one. Bye und auf Wiedersehen.